The Waco Annual Charity Open is underway, and starting off the press conference is Tournament Director Ryan Draper. Ryan, I'll ask you the softball question. How are you? How is life? The event is finally here.
Yeah, I'm doing really good. Really excited about the event this year. As you can probably see behind me, we have really nice green grass. We have some trees that are already bloomed out with leaves. So that's really exciting. We've had a couple of years where we have, the old Texas brown grass, and we're not quite there yet. So we're really excited about that. We have a new course that we're incorporating this year for our age-protected and AM side. That the goal is to bring into the Disc Golf Pro Tour side next year. Really, really excited about that. I think it's going to be a perfect complement to the Beast and, kind of the technical, maybe a little shorter side, and then the bigger, kind of longer side out there. And we have a good relationship out there, so we're really excited about that.
Well, let's actually dig into that other course, because there's talks about it being utilized a lot more in the future. Talk about the property and talk about who all was involved in the design and exactly what you were trying to go with there.
So it is on a ball golf course, and I say that lovingly, I guess, because I know that there are several ball golf courses on tour, and some of them are perfectly manicured, just beautiful, magnificent ball golf courses that you can't really get into, and you have to be careful around all the greens and make everything OB. We got lucky in that we have a course it's a nice course, but it's not just the perfect, manicured course that we have to be really ginger around. We can kind of utilize some greens and walk on those and kind of make the space what we want. It also has a lot more trees than you typically see on a golf course, and so we're able to utilize those, and I think make an actual disc golf course out of it instead of just playing disc golf on a ball golf course. That's one of the most exciting things about that. Not to discount any other courses or any other events or anything like that, but I just think that as a ball golf course, we're going to separate ourselves a little bit, in that it's going to really feel like a disc golf course, even though it is on a ball golf property. The owners out there are super bought in. They're really excited about it. This is kind of a tester event, so we're having the AMs and the age-protected guys out there. But it's kind of already obvious that it's going to be a good relationship, and we're going to be able to kind of do whatever we want in the future. Joey and I designed the course out there. He gave me a little more breathing room than he normally does, which I appreciated very much. So it was a collaborative effort, but whereas the Beast, it's all that guy. Joey is for sure the unsung hero of this event in general. We both collaborated at the new course, and I had a little more breathing room, so tried to stretch it out a little bit more. I would say the current layout is definitely upper kind of max level for an MP40/MA1 player. But we'll definitely need to stretch it out even more for the Pro Tour side.
Thank you for sharing all that. That's super exciting, and obviously ball golf course design in disc golf is always evolving. There's always people like yourself watching, saying what they want to do better, and hopefully this course can match that. Let's zoom out a little bit. You've lived in Waco for a long time, you've mentioned. Talk about the city of Waco in general. It seems like every time I at least come back here, there's always something new. There's always something blossoming in this city.
Yeah, so the city of Waco in the last probably 10 years or so has really kind of exploded. We have the hit TV show Fixer Upper, Magnolia, all of that is all filmed here. Chip and Joanna Gaines live here and still work here. I think I don't really keep up with it all that much, but I know that they started their own channel or something like that, and it just keeps growing and growing. Kind of the fixer-upper Disneyland, I guess you could say, is here downtown, and so since they put that in, everything has just kind of exploded from there. So we have new industry coming in all the time. They're expanding the downtown area. The area where we have our kind of famous bridge and the party there is just always under construction with new stuff coming in. They're building Baylor is building a new basketball stadium right there. So we have the big football stadium, and on the other side of the river, the big basketball stadium now. And that's really cool because you can boat up to the stadium, dock there, and just hang out for a little while. You can do your tailgating. It's like boat gating instead of tailgating before the game, and that's really exciting for everybody. So it just brings a lot of traffic into to downtown and Waco in general.
Thank you for that. And also, we can piggyback off that. You mentioned, the two TV stars have kind of created a tourist attraction in the city of Waco, and obviously we're resting right on the Brazos River. This whole area is gorgeous. Talk about tourism for disc golf and maybe the community in Waco. How has that grown over time?
So the Waco disc golf scene was always pretty big, and it's definitely gotten bigger. This course has become a destination, and so we see people here from all over all the time. It's pretty cool to come out here and just always see new people and get to introduce yourself or just introduce them to other people around town. And you hear the cool comments like, "Oh, I'm here. This is the Mecca," or things like that. They get you really pumped up and excited to go even bigger. Hopefully something like that happens with the other course too, and we kind of combine those and make like a real destination. Yeah, and then as far as tourism, I know we bring the city loves us. We have a great relationship with the city. In fact, just right now, they're bringing us pallets of mulch to put around the baskets, just kind of on a whim. And that's the kind of relationship we have. We really appreciate those guys. They go big for us every year.
Let's zoom in and kind of wrap it up with a question about the course we're playing this weekend for the MPO FPO side. Really hasn't changed much at all other than some pars being adjusted. Is there a specific reason for that, or has there been talks of making specific changes to different holes?
Yeah, it hasn't changed much. You're right. There are a few reasons for that. We have changed a couple of things this year, mostly just in trees planted here and there. We haven't moved boxes or baskets or anything like that in a while. We have moved hole 2's basket. I think we did that a couple of years ago. It's actually raised now, so that'll be something new. And we've talked about expanding hole 15, pulling the tee box back a little bit and creating an actual par 4. Right now, I think it's on the edge. Some guys call it a tweener hole. The way I look at it is, if it's a tailwind and like the top 10, top 20 guys aren't going for it, they should be. Those guys should be going for that. They can all throw 550. They can throw a 550-foot hyzer. It is definitely sketchy and dangerous. It's tight. But, I feel like especially round 3, coming down the stretch, there's only 2 or 3 holes to go. That's a really good, am I going to push it or not hole. And that's definitely, for the top 20 distance throwers on tour, that's definitely a place to make up some ground every round, but especially round 3.
Well, it should be a super exciting weekend of disc golf, and the event is here. You can soon breathe easy. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back. And joining us now, Nikko Locastro. Nikko, I want to start this off. I want to read a quote that you wrote on Instagram the other day. I really like it a lot, and I'd like for you to maybe explain it a little bit further. Each day I get to play disc golf feels like a win to me. I feel like I enjoy playing now even more than when I first started. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, disc golf, I've definitely been able to find a lot of appreciation just having the ability. You got to be grateful for, I look down and I'm able to use my hands, I'm able to use my feet, I'm able to use my eyes, and just to be grateful for simple things in life that I have this opportunity to pursue my career, my passion at 34 years old. And, I would like to consider myself still one of the top players in the game. And, I come out here to compete at the highest level, and I really am grateful that I have these opportunities to do so.
Talk about the time off. Talk about the time you took away from competing, and what you did. Physically, mentally.
It was definitely a lot of mental preparation and physical preparation as well. I want to take good care of myself and make sure that I feel mentally sharp and tuned in. I've been trying to fine tune my game for the longest time, and I feel that my game and skill level is the most well-rounded that it's ever been currently, and I feel really good with my new lineup of discs. Lone Star Discs is creating some high-quality product that I can perform with at the highest level. And again, I'm grateful to be sitting here with you guys and have the ability to chase down my dreams.
Talk about the partnership with Lone Star Disc. Do you have any input on new molds coming out? Are you allowed to share anything like that?
We're working on some fun projects right now. Sacred Discs is something that's been in the works here for a little while since I started getting involved with this company. I came to them with a concept, and Terry, the owner of the company, Terry Dillard, he decided that this was a good idea to greenlight this project, and we've been working behind the scenes to come out with some new molds. So we're planning on launching 5 new products in 2022, and it's my sacred blend of product. I'm going to let everybody in on a little bit of stuff, but I'm going to use, sage and Palo Santo wood and lavender blend, and I'm trying to be creative with it, and it's got my creative juices flowing, but it's truly a passion project for me. This is something that's very meaningful to me, that I can, be a part of something that's new, and it's fun. It's been great.
That is really interesting. Looking at that and bringing that into the design of a disc, let's talk about what flights you want out of a disc that you're designing. I mean, you've gone through every phase of backhand there is. There's force over, there's hyzer flip.
Right. So I'll be honest, for the first 5 discs, I'm going for more neutral flights. I just want to be able to create discs that are good and work for the most range of players. If you're low arm speed or fast arm speed, I want the discs from the Sacred Disc lineup to be suitable for everybody. So I'm trying to go for the discs that stay down the middle and don't go super hard right or super hard left. Just trying to build a consistent flight.
Thank you for sharing all that. That's really
Definitely.
interesting stuff. And I guess we can zoom in on this weekend. You've played well here, clearly. As opposed to years past, you have a new bag of discs.
Right.
Are you viewing any of these tee shots differently from a decision-making standpoint?
I think my bag has, all the discs that are capable of pulling off the shots needed for this course or any course, really. Lone Star Disc has moved very quickly in this industry. I'd say within 2 years, they've moved faster than any company that I've ever seen jump into the sport of disc golf, and they're continuing to come out with new molds and new products and new plastic. So it's really exciting for me to be involved with this new company. And the question you asked on the course is, I believe that I have the shots, I have the capability. I know we're we're at a spot in the sport where there's so many talented players. So to be able to pull off a win and a victory, that would be amazing. But to have a good showing, that would also just make me feel really good. It's still early in on the season. I played 2 tournaments so far, and I showed signs of life during each event that I still got what it takes, and I'm extremely competitive. If you guys know me, I truly live to be a competitive disc golfer, a competitive player out there, and I'm living out my dreams right now, man. Like, this is truly where I belong, and I feel like I'm happy. I'm extremely excited and grateful that I'm able to compete in 2023. I had some issues signing up for some of these the first wave of tournaments, with the suspension and not being able to sign up till February 8th, and it was tough, man. Like, to be honest with you guys, I went through the hardest times of my life. You could only imagine, not being able to pursue your career and your passion for a half a year. It was tough, but I think that, with the mindset that I have, I believe I have a champion's mindset, and when you have the right type of mindset, you can get through anything in life, and that's where I'm at right now. Everybody has to keep pushing forward, and we all have these obstacles that we have to overcome one way or another, and I'm excited where I'm at, man.
Well, Nikko, good luck with everything. Enjoy yourself this week, and,
Yes,
and we'll see you out there.
I appreciate that.
We will be right back in just a bit.
Thank you, guys.
Joined here now, Cale Leiviska, Masters champion of the Memorial Masters champion of the Las Vegas Challenge. Let's just get the obvious question out of the way. How does it feel to be battling in that division now?
Battling in the Masters division, it's fun. It's really exactly what I kind of thought it would be, what I hoped it would be. The past few weeks I've been able to battle with some of my old competitors that I kind of grew up playing the game with. Steve Rico, Bobby Music and I were battling, KJ Nybo, Brinster, Alan Wagner, some of the homies. So it's been fun. It's a lot more laid back than playing MPO for sure, but obviously it's very competitive, and there's been some big money tournaments, so it's been fun to kind of get my feet wet.
I still remember a picture of you and Dana Vici a long time ago sitting in the back of a van that I don't know if either both of you or just Dana was living out of. Reminisce on those days of you as a competitor and maybe how you view disc golf now as a business person and as a competitor.
When I think about the old days, when we're talking 15 years ago, when I was as passionate about disc golf as I am now, but it was just different in the aspect that there wasn't as much incentive to practice and put so much into our bodies, into the competitive side of it. We did it because we loved it. There wasn't a ton of money in the game. We did it for the camaraderie, for the fun, for the competition, for those road trip moments when we're all traveling together, seeing the country. I have a lot of fond memories. Obviously, I should probably write a memoir someday with all the stuff that's happened. But yeah, it's to see where we are now and how far we've come. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Well, nowadays you're doing quite a bit in the disc golf world. You mentioned you're still just as passionate as you were when you started touring. What percentage of your life is disc golf business versus disc golf playing?
Well, you know, with my business brain, it's kind of hard to turn it off. So I mean, there's something to do every single day. So in that, in that light, it's the business. I'm living it every single day. And unfortunately, being in Minnesota, I don't get to practice every day. But I've been on the road now for 5 weeks. Got a couple more to play as much as I can. Enjoy the time where I have to just come down here and compete and kind of put my heart into this. And I'll be really busy when I get back home on some business stuff. But for now, it's just all about playing and competing, and I'm trying to just enjoy every second and not take it for granted.
You actually spent quite a bit of time in Charleston, South Carolina recently. Was that like an elongated home maybe for the winter for you to get away from Minnesota?
Yeah, my wife Victoria and I, we've been talking about kind of having a winter getaway for a few years now, and this year, we one of her best friends lives down there, so for the month of November and December, we rented a home on this island called Folly Beach, and just we got to live the ocean life for 2 months. We were driving golf carts around. I was riding the one wheel every day. We were shark tooth hunting, playing a lot of disc golf too. It was a beautiful, beautiful retreat for us, and it's going to be hard to not do it every year after we did it once, honestly.
I guess one more big question before I throw it over to Raul here. How are you feeling right now, this week, playing on a course that you've performed well at in the past, second place, fifth place? What do you think about the course this year?
I'm feeling really good, honestly. I'm coming off of back-to-back-to-back wins in 3 different states, which is pretty cool for me. So I've been trying to really, just focus in on what I need to do to make my game crisp. And for that, it's working on my new spin putt. And, the last couple of weeks have been pretty wide open courses. And then we come to Waco where we get this balance of the woods and the open. I've done really well here every year I've ever played this course, I've done really well. I love my chances here. I know the wind's going to pick up, and when that happens and you're playing in the woods and you got a lot of out of bounds around, it's really about just using the experience to play smart, play strong, and I seriously have very high hopes for this. I would love to get this win. I know we're switching next year to playing 2 courses potentially, so while we're here at the Beast, one last time for 3 rounds, I want to make the best of it and give it a run.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to throw it over to Raul here with MX Disc.
Thanks, Brian.
Hey, Cale, Raul from MX Disc Golf. So now that you're playing, or that you can play Masters, how do you pick which tournaments you play in Masters and which tournaments you play MPO?
So, I turned 40 in May, so I'm eligible to play all season. There's 2 big ones that I really wanted to play, that I wanted to compete at, and that's the Masters World Championships and then the Tim Selinsky U.S. Masters Championships. And I really want to give those a good run, be in the first 2 majors that I'm eligible to play in this division. And I really didn't want to have the World Championships be my first Masters event. I thought that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself, so I wanted to play a couple events earlier in the year to kind of get my feet wet. And Vegas and Arizona are 2 very open, long courses where distance has a big advantage, and I figured those would be good ones for me to do it, given that I'll be a little rusty coming off the long winter and trying to keep up with these kids throwing 600 feet on every hole. I thought that would be a good time to kind of play at MP40 and get some experience, and then now when I play these next majors, it won't be so stressful. Yeah.
Great. Thanks.
Joined here now by the defending champion, Paul McBeth. Paul, first question for you. The Zone OS officially approved a couple days ago. I just want to know, a lot of people are talking about it. Wicked overstable approach disc. Discraft hasn't really made something like this. Are you going to be throwing it this weekend? Have you had any first impressions with it?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it, but that's just my personal preference. It is really overstable. I actually think it's a more puttable zone than the other zone. It actually goes really straight at slow speeds, but the harder you throw it, I've noticed, the more overstable it gets, which is very unique. It is one of those discs where everyone's going to want to own one. How many people really use it? I don't know. So we'll see.
With that, we'll jump to what you're doing actually this week, defending your title. This is a course that you play very well. You say that mids and fairways are kind of your bread and butter, especially as time has gone by. Has anything changed in your decision-making on this course from last year to this year?
I think I have better skills on on a handful of these holes. I feel like I really trust my zone forehand a lot more than I did last year at this point. So some of these holes, I feel like I'm seeing the fairway more. So I think that's a big aspect that's really improved from last year to this year. And then as far as the backhand drives, I don't think there's a single change out here. So no, I feel really good with my game and how it fits this course.
With that said, players are getting better and better year after year. Do you believe the skill of the MPO division is getting truly better, or do you believe that everybody is kind of leveling out in regards to skill?
I feel personally I'm a step behind what I used to be. I think there's more players that are at a higher level than what there was. So I think there's a lot more names that can pop off each week. As far as, do I see someone that was better than me 5 years ago or Ricky? Not yet. I think there's definitely potential. I think, we saw it with Gannon last year. But I don't think there's anything that's been done that's like the next level yet. But I'm looking forward to it, and I want to hit that next level still too.
What is that next level? Is it in skill set? Is it consistency?
Probably most likely consistency. I think that's going to be the biggest thing, is consistency, and that's hours and hours and hours. It's not necessarily throwing it 600 feet. It's throwing it 600 feet where you want to, over and over and over again. So I think that, like you said, I think it is the consistency.
You talked to me a little while ago about just your come up on the Flight Diary podcast a couple years ago, and you'd mentioned in 2015 when you had that historic season that you were throwing over and over and over again to the point where your knee and back almost gave out. Obviously probably trying to build that consistency. Looking back, do you feel like now there's a smarter way to build consistency, or do you feel like that was kind of a necessary thing at that point in time?
Well, so in 2015 at the European Open, I actually fractured a vertebrae, slipping and twisting and throwing a shot on the side of a hill. So there was more of an injury, not necessarily the work that I was putting into it that caused it. It was more just a freak accident. So that was a big recovery that off season, because I was still able to play because I didn't fully know what it was until the off season. I thought it was just pain from that year. So I think it is that hours and that dedication and doing that and dedicating everything you have to disc golf. Mm-hmm. So I think, there's plenty of players that can do it. It's just, dedication is not an easy thing. And then on top of it, having the talent to do it.
With that said, is consistency for you now something that you can even train? Is it all mental for you at this point, or do you feel like there's still specific types of practice you have to put in to make that happen?
Yeah, I think so. I think, putting in the hours, putting in the repetition, and not just practicing, but having good practice and quality practice, because, if you're not practicing at 100%, you're going to create bad habits. So you could put in 10-hour days for a week straight, but if you're putting in terrible routines and terrible practice, you're going to get terrible results. So it's doing it the right way and making sure you're doing that and being dedicated to it.
I have one more question for you before I throw it to Raul here. Outside of this weekend at Waco, any future upcoming projects for the foundation?
There's always projects for the foundation. I think the closest one coming up is Nicaragua. I believe Kevin Jones is going on that trip, and that's something we want to continue doing with the foundation, is getting other players involved. Whether it's their sponsors that are funding the trip, as far as baskets and such, but also allowing other players to go to these countries and seeing what it is like to introduce disc golf to a country that may have never seen or heard of it before, because it is really humbling, because they have no clue who you are, and you're just there to teach disc golf, share disc golf, because you have the passion for it. So Nicaragua is definitely the first one coming, but there are 3 to 5 more throughout the year.
Fantastic, thank you. And I'm going to throw it to Raul now.
Hey, Paul.
Hello, Raul.
So you just talked about the foundation, the projects. You just played your first tournament that came from one of those projects, the very first project in La Paz, Mexico. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me about your experience playing a tournament in Mexico, and also what the disc golf scene is like over there right now?
Yeah, and before I answer that part, there's been a PDJ tournament in Colombia, many actually, PDJ tournament in Guatemala, which is some of these project courses. It's just Mexico was the first one I was able to make it to. And Colombia and Guatemala had they had people that knew disc golf a little bit more than Mexico. Where we went, they had no idea. It was the first time we introduced it, first time they ever heard it. They had never seen it on YouTube or nothing. So to be able to introduce it that way and see how they took it, as the area that's in it's not the most ideal, to be living in. So yeah, that was like I said, the question before, very humbling to see, and kind of put a lot of things into perspective and how fortunate we are. But to see how they've really taken it and turned it into their lifestyle and something that they're able to carry to the kids that are in those situations, and just to see how much they're one of us. They are literally one of us, and how they love disc golf and have the passion for it and how they want to get better each and every day. And they're not selfish with it. It's really cool to see. But as far as the tournament, they ran it like a tournament. Like they had ropes, they had string, they had flags, they had spotters, they had it all for their first ever tournament in that part of the country of Mexico. So to see the preparation they put in it, the things that they've learned from what tournaments like the Disc Golf Pro Tour are putting on, they're taking that in, they're soaking it in, and they are putting it out there for their players to see and experience. And it was one of the most well-ran tournaments I've ever done, and it was their first one, and it was just a C tier. To us it was just a C tier, but that's a milestone for them.
For sure. Well, we hope to see you in more tournaments in Mexico in the future, and thank you. We'll be right back.
Awesome.
Joining us now, we have the champion of last year's Waco Annual Charity Open, Val Mandujano. Valerie, you posted something that a lot of fans were probably sad to see, but also likely happy for you making a decision like that. Can you talk about what you posted for the people who haven't seen it yet?
Yeah, I made a post stating that I will no longer be playing the Waco Chin Open. Sorry, I got tongue twisted. Just due to my injury, I just feel like it's a smart choice right now. I didn't want to make the choice. I lingered to make it up until my first practice round, and when I was playing it, I felt the pain coming back, but it was a hard choice to make, but I made it.
How has this time been that you've had to spend not competing, watching? Have you been paying attention to the tour and who's playing well, who's not?
Honestly, it's been a long off season, a little longer than I'd like. I haven't been paying much attention to who's playing, I think, due to the fact that I wasn't able to play. If I'm not able to play, then I don't want to see golf. I miss it too much to sit and watch other people play. But it's been a good time, I think, a good time of off time for me just to realize and appreciate the sport. It can all be taken away really quickly.
Well, it is your left ankle, so obviously you're planting with your right, putting off of your right. Have you been able to do any sort of practice whatsoever with the injury?
So the doctors told me after a month of off playing, I can play again. So I did. I played a full round, and it felt okay. It felt like I took a break and I was coming back to it. But then I realized I was only playing at like 70%. I wasn't throwing that hard. The minute I started throwing harder, I realized I felt the pain. And I didn't pay attention to my left ankle that much as I thought I did. The minute I started pushing off of it, felt a little more tension, and I realized I wasn't throwing as far. So.
Well, with that, it's almost like the injury has overshadowed the fact that you signed with a new company. You signed with Discraft. You're on the elite team, joining some other fantastic FPO players. How has the relationship been so far, and have they been supportive of you during this frustrating period of time?
Honestly, they've been the best. I couldn't have asked for much. Bob's been very helpful with this, tough time, and he's been very reassuring that my spot will still be here. Just take time, heal up, and they've been reminding me that it's the bigger picture. It's playing longer. It's not trying to play right away and having a short season. It's letting this injury heal, take its time, and I have a long career ahead of me.
Must feel good to have trust in a new sponsor and have them trust you back. Have you gotten to try the new equipment without the injury? So prior to the ankle injury, were you able to throw?
I was able to throw probably for a month, I'd say, with the new bag. I made some changes at the end, and luckily I had Alexis and Mason to kind of guide me through it and say, well, this should fly like this, and this is what you're looking for, and in time this will beat up. So I'm confident in my bag right now, if I had to say.
A lot of players switching to Discraft have mentioned that it's been one of the easier changes that they've had to make, and they were surprised by that. Did you feel something similar, or was it a little bit more challenging to get used to the new stuff?
No, I feel similar. Alexis mentioned it when she first switched. She's like, oh yeah, it's so much simple. Like the lineup, I just need to carry, this one mold, but, five of them. And I kind of didn't believe her at first until I looked through her bag and she's like 5 Stalkers, 2 Zeuses, and I'm kind of in a similar boat. I think I have like 3 Zeuses in my bag, and then I have a variety of Undertakers. So I'm on the same boat with her.
Well, there's a lot of people looking forward to you getting back out here competing again, and I think they're happy that you're taking a rest and making sure that you're 100% when you're competing again. So thank you. I'm going to throw it over to Raul now.
Thank you.
Hey, Val.
Hello.
So since you haven't been able to play or anything, how's married life going so far?
Oof. It's pretty much normal. I felt like we're the same. We're pretty much just like, what can we do to get better in the relationship and disc golf standpoint? But it's amazing to have a partner like Mason. I really value, and I'm so thankful that I have him in my life, honestly, especially in a tough time like this. I can lean on him so much, and I'm thankful to have him.
What are some of the things that you've been doing to keep your mind off of it?
I've been thinking on ways I can remodel the RV.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a huge DIY person, and I've been looking up a bunch of videos, but I can't do much, so I'm leaning everything on Alexis and Mason, and they're just kind of like, just give me time. My off season's pretty much up. I still need to play, and I'm just like, guys, look, I'm sending them messages. We can do this to the RV. So that's kind of where my mind was right now. If not that, it's kind of just planning out the tour and seeing how we can make it efficient and better this year.
Nice. Thank you very much, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Joining us now, Las Vegas Challenge champion Calvin Heimburg. Calvin, you did not play the Memorial last week. How did you spend your time off?
I flew back home, got my stuff together, and then drove out here to Texas. So still kind of busy, no tournament disc golf, but just getting myself ready for the remainder of the season on the road.
Obviously, you're playing very solid. You took your 6th Elite Series win in Vegas. Moving into the woods now, much shorter course, much more wooded property. Do you enjoy playing a course like this?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's necessarily my favorite being out here at Waco, but I think it's definitely interesting, leads to some compelling golf, and I feel like anyone in the field can win.
Joined here now, Las Vegas Challenge champion Catrina Allen. Catrina, I want to start this with a quote from something you wrote after you won the Las Vegas Challenge, which I found really nice and inspiring. There were some times this week where it would have been easy to spiral, but I decided to take accountability for my bad shots, move on to the next. I have so much to improve on, and I'm really happy with where my mental game is at. I'm pretty sure a lot of us know what you were referring to in regards to the spiraling, but obviously, like you said, you pushed right through it and got exactly what you wanted. Let's look at the second half of that, though. What do you feel like you still have to improve on?
I'm still tweaking my form. I'm really happy with the progress I've made in such short time, but I don't know. I don't want to get too specific, but, I still feel like, I'm feeling better and better, but like I've talked about with the advancement of our sport and people like breaking down form and, being lucky to work with people like Austin and Chris and, every week there's just a little something I want to add on that I think could improve my throw.
Let's look at this course. Let's zoom in a little bit on a short, wooded track, so different from the one you just won on. What style of golf do you prefer?
I don't care. I mean, I feel like the thing I'll always enjoy about a golf course is you throw a bad shot. There's not a lot to save you, right? I mean, maybe a golf cart here and there, but no, just kidding, too soon. But really, I think I've always enjoyed that you can kind of attack holes on golf courses different ways depending on what the wind's doing. But really, you're as long as you hit your angle and your line, there's really not a lot. Now out here, it can get a little frustrating because you can be just a little off. But the thing about, in the woods here is when you pure the line, it's really rewarding and you're gaining strokes. So
you've mentioned, and like I said in the quote, you have been very proud of your mental game. And I know last year you talked so much about grinding through it and improving it. When it comes to woods golf, you talked about the golf course. What's the challenge here that you face? Yeah,
just this part of the year, there's a lot of limbs you can't see because there's not leaves, right? And they're gray and it's in the woods. And just through the last 5 days of practicing, I've seen my shot, Chris's shot, Austin's shot, like, oh, that looks great, and then just like a ghost limb you can't see. And so just how am I going to handle a good shot like a shot I think is good that doesn't show that result, right? Like how am I going to move on from that? That can happen to you 3 or 4 holes in a row, and it'll be the same as, like, say, missing a putt or throwing a shot out of bounds in Vegas. I'm going to have to try to power through the same way.
Definitely. Let's talk about what it takes to win here. Let's talk about, obviously, you're scoring better than the rest of the field to win, but when it comes to scoring on this course, do you feel like you have to birdie every single hole? Is there a specific number that you're thinking of each round?
I never know. I've heard the wind's going to change every day, right? Like it's going to be a different wind, so that can kind of affect how things play out here. Looks like maybe some rain, but really, you never know. I feel like in the woods, sometimes everyone comes out, shoots 12 down, you're like, what the heck? I thought this place was hard, and then some days it's like, it's really just getting everybody. So I'm going to just focus on my game plan, and, I think scrambling will come into play because you're not going to pure every shot out there. And then out here, just adjusting to the different winds.
How was your last week spent? You won Vegas. Did you celebrate? Did you get back to work? What exactly happened between then and now?
We drove to Scottsdale on Sunday night. And then Monday we went straight to Los Olivos, one of my favorite parks in Phoenix. It's kind of where I've done a lot of field work back in the day, like 12 years ago. It's just a fun, short 9-hole course. Me and Austin played 9 holes to see who makes breakfast, and I won. So and then next day got to work. Next 2 days got to work with my trainers at Source Performance. Last time I'll get to see them before the next season, so that was fun. And then we had a DGA dinner, we had DGA media stuff, we had the signing at the memorial, and then drove all the way to Oklahoma, got the truck and trailer, and got down here and got to work. So a lot.
Still busy.
Yes.
Talk about having a trainer. Talk about, obviously pro athletes have trainers.
Yeah.
But you live, like all the other disc golfers, a very unique lifestyle.
Yeah.
When you're doing this, do you have your trainers build programs for you while you're on the road as well?
Yeah, so it was different for me. I haven't really worked with a trainer like that. They work with Olympic athletes, professional athletes. I got to go in and there was literally Vikings players in the gym, so that was pretty exciting. But anyways, really for me, it was just 4 times a week I met with them. I didn't have to think about what weight I was doing, what the workout was doing. They changed it every 2 weeks, and it's just a little stress off of my back, right? Like I can get in the hour, get it all done. And, they also are doing it sports specific, so they actually kind of looked at disc golf, what muscles do we really need to work, what don't we? And then, I still like to work out during the season, so we do adjust it a little bit, more sports specific and shorter, but still heavy weights. Yeah.
Working with someone that's done work with professional athletes and Olympians, what did they think of the disc golf movement?
Yeah, actually, so every once in a while I would have a different trainer who worked at the gym just because, scheduling and whatever, and they'd be like, disc golf, huh? Yeah, they're like, really? People work out for disc golf? And then, but I mean, I also saw a girl who does a Ninja Warrior there, and so, yeah. I mean, I think even if you have an office job, you should be in the gym, so.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I leave you with one last question.
Okay.
More of the competition is coming this week. The field is obviously growing. We have more players coming from overseas. Paige is back. Do you think about the players that you're playing against week to week? Do you have any, do you get momentum from your competitors by chance?
No, I've always said, and I'll say it again, I can't control who's there. I can't, this isn't like volleyball or basketball where you can block or you can play defense. This is really an individual sport, and I do my best if I just focus on my game and my strengths. And whether someone else is there or not, that's all I can do is throw my shots. So, I mean, of course, a win feels better the more stacked a field is. And that win means a little more. But other than that, just going to go out and do my thing.
Well, fantastic, Catrina.
Yeah.
Good luck this week.
All right. Thank you.
We will be right back.
Hi, Chris and Brittany.
Joining us back in the United States is Kristin Tattar. Kristin, welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm so happy to be here. Everybody's been so warm and welcoming, so I'm just enjoying being here. Yeah.
You won a National Sports Achievement Award, and you said it was one of the highest honors you can receive as an athlete in Estonia. Obviously, that says a ton about you as an athlete and a person, but also it says a lot about the sport of disc golf. Can you talk about the growth of disc golf in Estonia and where it's at right now?
Yeah, I mean, this is huge for disc golf because obviously disc golf is recognized as a really good sport that you can be professional at, and people take it more seriously. Yeah, I think this is an unknown territory, I feel like. So I'm stepping on that path that's not been walked before, and I'm really proud to do it. And to achieve this award, it just warms my heart, and it says a lot. Yeah.
I guess let's talk about disc golf in Estonia. Are there more courses being put in left and right? Are there more young players getting into it? How does that look?
So I think we have so many courses. I don't know if we can fit anymore. But yeah, Estonia definitely seems like a disc golf country for sure, because it seems like every village and every town has a disc golf course. So the opportunities to practice disc golf are very good. And yeah, it feels like it's getting better every day. I think we should work on getting more young people involved, and I think Estonia's Disc Golf Association is working on that, so I'm glad to hear it and would like to see it in the future.
The fans in the United States definitely missed you at the last tournament in the Las Vegas Challenge, and I think everyone's really excited to have you back after what an incredible season you had last year. How did you spend your time before coming out here? How was your winter? Saw you did some modeling, a few other things. How was your time out in the winter time?
Yeah, so the main focus went to my elbow. I had a pinched nerve in my elbow, and I discussed it with doctors, and they said the best option for me would be to do a surgery. So I did a surgery on that. It was 3.5 months ago, so actually not that long. And mainly my focus just went to healing and to recovery. And in the short term, it was pretty frustrating because I wasn't able to maybe train as much as I would normally want to. But looking at the bigger picture, I think it was very necessary. And right now it feels like everything went according to plan. I mean, I gave up a little distance. Right now I don't have it, but Waco is like the shortest course on tour, so it's the perfect start. And yeah, I think everything is going as it should.
Well, that's fantastic to hear. It sounds like your elbow's doing a little bit better, which is great to hear. Do you feel like, with the lack of distance that you said, obviously you said this is one of the shortest courses on tour, do you feel like other parts of your game have gotten better? How much time to actually prepare for the season have you gotten?
Yeah, so not that much actually, because I wasn't allowed to throw for quite some time, and actually proper training is taking place right here. I obviously did some shorter throwing back in Estonia, but I think in the States I can actually finally put everything together, so I'm interested to see how everything works out. I think I have nothing to complain of, so I'm just going with the flow.
A lot of people are curious about a lot of the European players that come over here for an extended period of time to compete. What is your touring situation? Do you fly in and fly back? Are you renting a car? How are you going about that?
Pretty much the same as last year. Renting cars, staying at Airbnbs, and this year we're planning, like, I think 3 bigger trips. So yeah, everything is pretty much as it was previous years, and it's very familiar at this point, so nothing like major changes go into that.
One last question before I throw it to Raul here. Do you have a number in mind that you feel like you need to shoot to win this tournament? Do you feel like there's a goal in mind?
Since it's my first tournament back, and this off-season was so much different than the previous ones, I try not to put any expectations on me. As an athlete and as a competitive spirit, it's something that's very hard to do. But I keep reminding that to myself, and just try my best to execute the shots and see how it turns out.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Kristin, and here's Raul.
Thanks.
Hola, Kristin.
Hey.
So this is the first tournament that you're playing now as a world champion. And so talk to me about how it feels. Is there any difference, how you feel now coming into the season as you did last year, or you feel the same, or is there more pressure?
No, I didn't even think about it, to be honest. Now that you say it, I try to think about it. But no, I don't think any of the titles really affect my game. I'm still out here trying to do my best, and of course, being a world champion is amazing, and sometimes I remind myself that all of the amazing things that I've achieved and all this amazing experience that I have, these help me go forward. But no, it doesn't have any impact on what's going to happen tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Join here now, Caroline Henderson. Caroline, a lot of players have, or people in general, have not seen you on the camera, and this might be their first time kind of hearing your story. Would you mind introducing yourself to the disc golf world?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Caroline Henderson. I am from Frisco, Texas. I have been playing disc golf, well, really picked up a disc in 2020 there at the end. My first event was April 2021 at Dino Hills Disc Golf Farm in Glen Rose, and I was working and playing disc golf and at the same time, and as time went on, I started getting better. In 2022 in November, I played the VPO Open, and Holland was there, and after round one, we were like save scored. I was like, wow, this actually might be the decision I can finally make to quit my job and officially put 100% of my efforts towards disc golf, and that was our decision to do it.
So I heard that your background in athletics is softball.
Yes.
how long did you play softball for? How hard did you train? And do you feel like it's transferred well to disc golf?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started playing softball when I was 8. I started pitching around 10, and I started select around 11. And so I played 10U, and then I jumped up to 12U. I was very competitive. Like, I always played in divisions ahead, and it does translate really well, specifically the forehand, because in my opinion, I think the forehand, like, body mechanics is like throwing a ball, but the pitching softball mechanics is more like the snap. And so I've kind of put the two together. And so I think that's why my forehand is as good as it is so early.
You started in 2020, and now here you are on tour. What a whirlwind of a change of scenery for you. How did you get from starting out disc golf to being in this position? I mean, we've watched you throw. You throw fantastic. Were you studying a lot of videos left and right? Were you getting help from locals in your area? How did you develop the swing that you have now?
Yeah, it was mostly videos, and a lot of it was just, I'm also a field player, so a lot of it was just going out into the field and trying to do what felt right. Like, I knew I needed to be at certain places, like in the X step and at landing and stuff like that, but most of it was just letting my body figure it out. And I think that's the athleticism behind me.
How many hours a day, when you were really realizing that you could start taking the game more seriously, how much time were you truly putting into improving?
Yeah, so before this fall, before I was able to quit my job, I was only probably 3 to 4 hours a day, and a lot of it was just throwing. And once I quit my job in November, I probably spent 6 hours, but other than that, it was probably 3, but it's 6 to 10. And that includes like weightlifting and stuff like that.
You've obviously watched FPO disc golf before you have gotten out on the tour. Was there ever a time when you felt, maybe not starstruck, but felt like you weren't going to be able to get to that level, or have you always been just dead set on getting up to the top tier?
I was dead set on doing it. I'm not going to lie, there were moments, because everything's like this, nothing's ever slowly exponential, and on those moments where I was hitting those lows, I was like, maybe I can't do this, I'm not old, but I'm not young, maybe this isn't right for me. And my husband was like, you are not allowed to give up. He's like, we've watched this coverage, he's like, we are going to do this, you can do this. And I kind of just listened to him, and it really kind of turned out that I could do this, and it's really exciting.
Well, and now you're following the tour, and you're no longer playing the event based on the course that you're wanting to play on. It's now based on the name of the tournament. So a lot of different types of course you're going to have to face. Do you have experience being from Texas on this course particularly?
No, not really. Just because it's far away, like, we weren't going to make that big hour and 50 minutes drive to get here. I have played this course before in January, otherwise not really. And some of the courses in our area isn't quite like this course, specifically the wooded parts. So that's just the difference. But otherwise, half of it's like Texas golf.
Well, it's funny you say that, because this course is kind of a great balance of all types of disc golf. How do you feel in the deeper woods section of this property?
I like it a lot. I like woods golf. I think that's where the finesse comes in. It's not just bombs and lots of power, and I think that's the most challenging part of disc golf, and that's been the most challenging part for me, because we don't have that where I am, not like this. So,
with that said, you're going to face, like I said, lots of different types of courses, and courses that you get to see and study on video up until that point. Do you feel like there's a style of golf that you feel like you can win on the Disc Golf Pro Tour right now?
Mostly open, just because I have so much distance, and I can put my drives where I want it into the circle. I think that's what's the best part about my game, and it goes backhand and forehand, like all kinds of upshots, all distances I can put in the circle.
How much training? You said you did a lot of weightlifting. How much training are you able to do on the road? Obviously, it's a different lifestyle than being stationary.
Yes, I haven't quite gotten into that rhythm yet. I'm trying my best, I promise. It's most of it is because we're jumping from Airbnb to Airbnb. I think once we get our RV, it'll be a little bit easier to establish that kind of rhythm, but we won't know that until the next 3 weeks.
So then talk about your situation. Is your husband going to be with you the entire time? Is he going to be working? Is he going to be doing it remotely? What is his role in your life right now?
Yeah, so he works in cybersecurity, so everything he can do is remote, which is awesome. We ended up selling our house beginning of this year, because we were very committed to this. We were very committed to this early on, and we sold the house, bought an RV, hit a pole, and it's been in the shop. I know, it's so unfortunate, but it's a great story.
Tell that story.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
We just handed them the cash for the vehicle, right? And it wasn't even, I don't even know, we did have our truck at that time, and so we drove all the way, it's somewhere super south. We drove down south. I wasn't there. They went to pull it out of the lot, and instead of going straight, they like bumped a pole, and it wasn't bad damage. It's just the nature of the RV stuff. You know, doing the fixing it takes a long time to get all the parts in. So, but just to let everyone know, you need insurance, and if you got to replace your roof, you got to do the whole thing, and it's expensive.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Valuable life lessons learned. I have one more question for you. Obviously, this is going to be your first big tour. Are you going coast to coast with everything?
Yeah, so I don't have a tour card. So right now I'm waiting for tomorrow evening to be able to register for the last 1/3 of the tour. The only thing I didn't get into is Champions Cup, which is understandable because it's only like 40 people. So, but I do intend on doing everything except for the qualifiers.
So then, piggybacking off of that, are you the type of athlete to set long and short-term goals for yourself?
Absolutely.
What are they?
Yeah, so right now my short-term goals, I want to improve my putting a little bit more, and I want to keep it's mostly with rhythm. Like, I think I have the right parts. It's kind of like when you get into media or public speaking, you start speaking super fast. That's what's happening with my putt. And so I just have to make sure I stay calm and keep my rhythm, and that's going to be the goal for the next several months. Long-term goals, I want to make sure I stay consistently up in the top 20, top 15, and I think I can achieve that, especially when my putting figures itself out.
Well, fantastic. Well, good luck to you this week. Enjoy yourself, and we'll see you out there.
Awesome. Thank you.
We will be right back. We are joined here by Paige Pierce. Paige, you are back, and a lot of people were missing you at the Las Vegas Challenge, but super happy to have you here in Waco. Paige, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, it was fun. You know, I definitely missed competing. I was feeling like a little FOMO watching, but I made the decision. I'm still happy with my decision, and I'm feeling ready to attack the beast and see what happens basically. But yeah, I'm excited to be out here, and spring in Texas is always beautiful.
How are you in general? How was your off season? How was your winter? How did everything go there?
Yeah, it's funny. That's a funny question. Like trying to catch up with everyone. Everyone's like it's been so cool to be on site and to see how motivated everyone is. Like, usually there's so many tee times available. We have to sign up for tee times for practice rounds, and usually there's so many tee times available, but like every single tee time's taken. Like, people are running 2-3 rounds per day. Like, everyone's motivated, and that's really cool to see, and it you know, spirals down, and everyone's feeling that, right? But it makes it hard to catch up with friends because we're also focused on doing our own thing. So it's like a quick, like, hi, how are you? Good. You know, it's hard question to answer in short, but off season is always short and long, and it's always good. Yeah, life keeps getting better.
Saw that you did a disc golf tourist trip recently, which is something that maybe not a lot of the newer viewers know a lot about. What exactly is disc golf tourist, and how was it?
Yeah, I actually did 2. So basically, in short, disc golf tourist is basically showing the world outside of disc golf where disc golf can take you, showing the world what disc golf is. You know, we're in Cambodia. Why are you in Cambodia? Oh, we're traveling. We're all disc golfers. Like, how are you all connected? We all play disc golf, you know. And yeah, people are like, you know, especially in other countries still, it's like, what is disc golf? Oh, cool, you know. And basically we open up some spots for people to come on vacation with Alyssa and I, and we get to know new people and travel the country together. And we went to Cambodia and Thailand, and it was awesome.
How is the disc golf out there?
I played a course in Thailand, like just outside Chiang Mai. I swear it could be a Pro Tour level course. It's called Lana Rocks. I didn't really have that high of expectations. It's just like, oh, it's just fun, and we're playing on an island, you know. But it's like incredible. There's like a par 5. There's like uphill, like full power shots. There's downhill, like islands you got to hit. And the crew out there is just like inspired, and they're motivated, and they're good. So they're making championship level holes, so it's a beautiful course.
So you say the courses are beautiful. How is the disc golf community out in countries like this? Is it growing rapidly? Is it still kind of a tight-knit community? How is it out there?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's not growing to the level that it is in America or Finland or Estonia or anything like that yet, but it is. Like, people are becoming more and more aware of it. When they see the little basket on your shirt or something, they recognize it as disc golf. There's not as many courses like per capita, I would say, yet, but when there is one, people know about it, and like it's a lot of times where they go to go just get out of the city and go walk around nature, which is why we all started playing in the first place.
Zoom in a little bit on the current competitive disc golf that we're doing now. You won your first world title in Santa Cruz 12 years ago, 2011.
Crazy, yeah.
Fast forward to now, you've played disc golf all over the world. You've won all over the world. Are you setting long and short-term goals for yourself still? Do you have any for the season coming up?
That is another question that keeps getting asked. Is like, what are your goals? What are your goals? And I don't know. I make so many. In the recent past, I've made so many goals, and it just like, it's something that I don't want to think about right now. I just want to enjoy the game of golf and enjoy, even beyond that, just enjoy life and just, you know, whatever will be, will be. Que sera, sera, I think. So, yeah, I just want to live.
Those sound like great goals, actually. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard, you know, especially in the interview, and people have expectations that you should have expectations. But, you know, I'm trying to let all that go and just throw the Frisbee well.
I think I maybe kind of expected you to say something along the lines of that, to be honest with you, Paige. But let's talk about winning. You know, you mentioned, you know, publicly that, you know, maybe 1 or 2 tournaments you were like not really feeling like you cared to take down the victory. Is that something that comes and goes and has in the past, or do you feel like you're kind of fired up after some time away?
I'm definitely fired up for this one, and you know, I've won it before, and each time I've done so, it's been in dramatic fashion. It's never come easy to me here, and I think that inspires some motivation, because I want to have a victory like Kona did, you know, where she coasted and she made this course look like her, you know, hers, you know, and I want a victory like that at Waco. You know, I don't want to have to like claw my way through the beast, although that is what makes it exciting. But yeah, I think like the tour expanding, going to the Open at Austin, a new course. I'm going to go to Norway for my first time. So playing new tracks, but also then rewriting stories from courses where I haven't necessarily had the outcome I wanted. But yeah, I'm thinking about it as I'm playing these holes, and like, I'm going to play this hole better this year. You know, I'm determined to play this hole better this year. So yeah, I'm excited.
One last question before I throw it to Raul here. South by Southwest is happening in Austin soon. Are you planning to go to the festival?
Absolutely. You know, we're going to be in the city. I'm going to try not to like wear your typical festival stuff. I'm going to wear a disc golf shirt and be like, that's why we're in town. Come out to the tournament, you know. But yeah, growing a lot of people that like music like disc golf. So like my number one, I guess that is a goal of mine actually, is to grow. I know me skipping a tournament isn't going to have any negative effect on disc golf, but the tournament is going to succeed with or without me. And so my bigger goal, here comes Hogan. I think my bigger goal is to grow the sport outside of this park that we're in. You know, go to any place and wear a disc golf shirt, tell people about the tournament, and that's my goal right now. So yeah, definitely going to a place where a lot of people are and talking about disc golf, yeah.
Sounds good. Well, here's Raul.
Hola, Paige.
Hola.
So I just have one quick question for you. What is it going to take to get you to come play the next tournament next year in Mexico?
I actually got a notification on YouTube. I subscribe to GK Pro, which if you guys don't, you should. But I saw that there was a Mexican Disc Golf Championship, and I'm like, what? That's amazing. So I got to watch some coverage. The course looks great. And, you know, Kevin said he's made some lifelong friends there. So, I mean, I love meeting new people and sharing bonds and, you know, traveling. So I would love to go. It's just kind of a matter of, like, if the off season feels off enough. You know, it was nonstop this year. So, yeah, maybe we could do a disc golf tourist trip in Mexico this year.
That would be awesome. And we look forward to seeing you playing down there. Thank you. And we'll be right back.
Joined here now by Joey Harrell. Joey, Ryan Draper said that you are the big boss here at the Beast. He says that he takes a step back and lets you take control here. Talk about this course. It looks beautiful. It looks greener than we've seen it in a long time.
Well, I think we've been fortunate this year that we've had a little bit of rain, timely rain, and some warmer weather, warmer than normal. But, you know, last year I think we were really dry. We had some ice storms that came through. hurt some of the foliage and damaged some of the leaves. You can see back in the woods right now, if you go back in there, you'll see some of the shrubs are still struggling to make it back. Some of them probably won't. We did have quite a few little small limbs that fell down that we cleaned up over it. But we're real lucky this year, I think, to have the weather we're having. If you were here in a couple weeks later than you are now, you'd really see it green.
Obviously, you've ran this event before. This is one of the many iterations of this tournament that you've had. Does it feel like you're a well-oiled machine at this point when it comes to you and your team, or do you feel like there's always something new that you have to tackle?
Oh, that's a good Ryan question. He's the one that's really oiled this machine and kept it going, and he's turned it up quite a bit over the last few years. When I did it, it was a lot simpler. We didn't have all the media. We didn't have as many players. It was pretty much, no computers. Everything was handwritten. We did it that way. It's gotten pretty big, maybe a little bit bigger than what I'm ready for. But I've got Ryan in there, and he really is the guy that runs this thing. I got it started with some other guys, and I get out here and maintain the course a lot and get it ready. That I can do. It doesn't take a whole lot of thought to do that. As far as well-oiled machine, you got to give that to Ryan.
Well, let's talk about when you said you were a lot more involved with kind of putting everything together. Talk about the history of kind of disc golf here in Waco, and feel free to even comment on the city of Waco.
Oh, sure, yeah. We started with a 9-hole course on the other side of the river at Cameron Park. That was put in, I believe it was 1993. It was donated by John Houck. John was doing Circular Skies tours all over Texas, and every year he would donate a 9-hole course to a city that he thought was worthy of having a course. And we were fortunate that year that we got one. That's how I discovered disc golf. I was driving home from work one day, driving across the bridge on Herring Avenue, and I happened to see a basket sitting on the corner and some guys throwing discs at it, or I thought frisbees at the time. And so I stopped and watched them for a few minutes, asked them what they were doing. They said, "Oh, we're playing disc golf." And I said, "Well, that's interesting. How do you do that?" And they told me. I went home. I was living with my mom and dad at the time, and my little brother was around. And I said, "Hey, I found this new sport we got to try," because Dad liked to throw frisbees, and we were always out playing catch with them. So I found out where I could buy a few discs, went and bought a few. My little brother, my dad, and I, we got out there and we started playing. We'd play that 9 holes over and over again. And then I got to know the people that were playing around there that had been playing quite a while. They had organized some small events, some minis, and they'd go out there maybe once a month and get together about 15 people, and they would play. So that's what got me interested in it. And then we had a few people that started talking to John a little bit. John had a few tournaments around. And we decided we thought we could have our own tournament. So Troy Taylor and Brian McGee in 1997, along with a little bit of help from me, not much, put together the first Waco Annual Charity Open. And I think we had maybe 100 players in the tournament, which was big at the time. Our purse was $2,000 or something like that. And we attracted quite a few people from all around, even from Oklahoma and stuff. And it just kind of grew from there. We've had some great players come through town. The city of Waco's been great to work with. We've been blessed with just having some beautiful park facilities out here as well. That's one of the best things that benefited me as far as helping design the disc golf courses we have and working on that. It's hard to mess up the pieces of property that I had to work with, and they probably could have done a better job than what I've done designing them, but it's hard to mess it up out here.
Well, speaking of course design, let's talk about the new course over at the golf course. Ryan said that you and him are kind of going in on that together. He said that he's designing it a little bit, you're designing it a little bit. What is your role in that new property, and how do you feel about it right now?
Oh, it's a really interesting piece of property, neat piece of property. We had to throw it together pretty quick. We had about 2 months by the time we finally got the deal going through, or we felt comfortable enough to go out there and design a course where we had permission. So we kind of threw it up real quick. we followed along the lines of each hole on the ball golf course, on the par 3 course, just because when we did practice, we didn't want to interfere with people out there playing ball golf if we were crisscrossing fairways or anything like that. But our plan in the future, if everything works out there, is to go in and spend a good amount of time and really try to design something special. I think we got some good holes out there. I think all the holes are pretty good. I don't know that they're great, but they're pretty good, and I think they'll be worthy of the tournament we got coming up. But we really want to go out there and work on it and spend some time and try to put something together that's going to make a special course that people enjoy.
What is difficult these days? We're designing for the best players in the world, and you're always having to refine what you do.
That's a good question, and I'll say this over here. You know, when we first put it in, it was a great test for all these top guys, and I think it still is. Not quite as hard as what we see on a lot of the tour, of course, but we just don't have a lot of room. I think for design these days, you really have to have something where you can expand a little bit, you know, because I think some of the courses that right now are considered great disc golf challenges for these top pros, they're going to need to be changed in the future. I mean, everybody seems to be getting better, throwing a little bit further. They're hitting their lines a little bit better. And every course needs to be able to adapt to it. We're a little bit out of room here, but you know, we may be able to tweak some things in the future and toughen up some holes and lengthen some things out while keeping it fair.
There's always going to be a place for a short wooded course. Obviously, this is one of the shortest courses on tour, but many players, even the top professionals, say they like a style of course like this. Let's actually flip this, though, on you. How much disc golf are you getting to play these days?
I haven't played a whole lot lately. I've been wanting to get out and play some, and I plan on doing that as soon as the tournament's over. We've moved, and we've been working on building a house out in the country, and so I've spent a lot of time doing that. But a few years ago, I got out 3 or 4 times a week after work, and I'd get out and play. And my office is not too far from the course here, so there's a lot of lunch breaks when I'll come out here, and I'll throw some shots back and forth and putt a little bit. And try to get a little bit better.
Well, regardless, we genuinely appreciate all the work that you guys have put out here. The course looks fantastic.
I appreciate
and you're
it.
almost done. The event is almost begun, and soon you'll be able to rest easy. Thank you again so much.
Thank you for having me.
Joined now by Jeff Spring. Jeff, Vegas was a success. Beat numbers last year in regards to spectator passes sold. How is Waco looking in regards to spectators, and how are we looking in regards to how we're going to manage those people coming out?
Great on both accounts. I know we're ahead of last year in terms of spectator turnout and tickets sold, so we're feeling good. We aren't doing any more VIPs, so about the same as last year. Have a plan with our tour team who's doing some pre-event meetings right now to make sure that they're spread out appropriately, not affecting play. But we certainly want to provide a great experience for them in the woods. A lot easier once we get out of the woods and spread them out across these open holes. But it should be a great atmosphere. It's always fantastic here at this course, early season. Texas turns out.
It's a discussion we have every single year. Obviously, the players like playing in the woods, but the spectators have a tough time fitting in the woods. Is there any breakthroughs in regards to making that a better experience for the spectators?
A lot of courses are working really hard on getting spectator walkways adjacent to the fairways that are not in play, clearing out certain areas that don't come into play a little bit less often, at least. To find those pockets where we can spread people out throughout the course. Some courses that are wooded a little easier than others. Depends on the understory in the forest and how much of an impact you can make. Sometimes it depends on environmental concerns or the local municipality. In Vermont, there's a lot of laws and regarding kind of the natural habitat, and we work with the Agency of Natural Resources. There's less in other states. So it's a balance. It really is course dependent, and we try to work with the event team to understand what they can do on the ground for the courses, and then what we can sell corresponding to that to create a good experience. But it's always going to be a little bit of friction, a little push and pull, not just because we want to kind of have more revenue come in for the tournament to support the players, but also because more and more fans of disc golf want to come and see the players themselves. So it's going in the right direction. It's a good problem to have, but it really is course dependent.
You are a pretty big course designer these days, and you said long-term goal for you is facility development. You really enjoy that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This is one of the shortest courses we play all year, potentially the shortest. In the future, is there going to be a place for a course that's 7,400 feet?
It's certainly on the shorter end, and I'm not going to – I don't think we can rule it out. I think that this is the lower threshold of what we're going to see, but it creates some interesting results, and it's really been a unique history of winners through the years. And I don't think that there's a reason to discount that type of golf. It's not all about distance. We see scores affected by the wind here every year, affected by the tight wooded fairways that they have in the wooded section, but then opportunities for eagles. I think those have been dialed back as par has been adjusted through the years, but people aren't shooting double digits every single time here, depending on the conditions. So it's interesting, and I think it brings a nice balance. As depending on where we are at in the tour, we always hear different things from fans and media, like, you're always on golf courses. Well, we are for a little bit of a stretch, and it may seem that way. Then we get to the East Coast, or we're here. We have wooded courses. So what I like to sum it all up and say is that we have a deep variety of courses on tour that test all the part of players' game throughout the season. That's why the Disc Golf Pro Tour points are really the metric that a lot of people strive for. The guy coming up next puts that at the top of his list in terms of goals that he sets for the season. Ricky Wysocki being our reigning points champion and tour champion. So it's you have to play all types of golf. This is one of them, and we'll see who can win.
When you're designing a facility, and if you get free reign, what is the length that you ideally would like to put a course as? 9,000, 11,000?
Yeah, well, it depends on the terrain. Really, it depends on elevation and the type of woods, the type of meadows, the type of field. So I would say, in woods, we're looking between 8,000 and 9,500, maybe pushing to 10,000 if we've got, a real tapestry to work from. But, and on those open courses, we're definitely seeing anything up to 12.5, maybe even past that, under maybe 13,000 feet. I know that I've seen a course over 13,000 feet that I didn't think was ridiculous, but it all depends on those pars too. If you have a lot of par fives, it stretches it out quickly, and Brian, like if it's an open par five, it's got to have four digits of feet. It's got to be 1,000 feet, at least to hold up, or penalties or woods or something. So you put 1,000-foot hole out there, all of a sudden you're not that far away from 10,000
Yeah.
after a couple of them.
I have one last question before I throw it to Raul here, and it is about course design, because there is another course being put on a golf course in Waco. Have you gotten to see it? Are you satisfied with the way it's designed? What level of involvement do you have in that?
Yeah, I've been talking to Ryan about the property in the past. I haven't gotten to see it. I'm looking forward to seeing it during this trip. It wasn't really ready to be seen last year, but I hope that we can collaborate and I can give some feedback on it, and I expect that we'll work together to make it a great tour venue if that comes to pass. So I think it could be a good complement to this course, and we'll see what the future of the event holds.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Here's Raul.
Thanks, Brian.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey.
So we see that the tour this year is going to spend some part of it in Europe, and so my question is, what is it going to take for the tour to come to Latin America, to Mexico, to Colombia, especially during the off season when the weather is much nicer over there?
Yeah, we're looking forward to those opportunities. I know that really what it's going to take is a motivated event team that works with us directly to get the right ingredients together, whether it's an exhibition to start or an actual points event. I could see us starting with an exhibition and then building from there. But, we've been in touch with folks from Brazil, Colombia, I think Guatemala, Mexico, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity coming together. I think we've got a lot of irons in the fire, if you will, and that's certainly one of them that I'd like to see be put to use.
Well, I know I speak for the entire Mexican community where we say we can't wait for it.
Great.
Thank you, and we'll be right back.
All right, thank you.
And last but not least, joined here by Ricky Wysocki. Ricky, we just saw recently on Instagram, you mentioned you are not playing this tournament just due to the same wrist injury that kept you out of All-Stars and Vegas. What's been going on?
Yeah, so I've just had some wrist inflammation where I get this swelling in my wrist to the point where I don't have much mobility in my wrist. And and so that's what kept me out at the All-Stars, in Vegas and now here. And so it just hasn't gotten any better. I saw a hand specialist and did MRIs, and there's nothing structurally wrong with the wrist, so that part's good. I'm not, nothing's injured from that standpoint. It's just potentially some Lyme disease inflammation that's keeping me out, and it's going to go away eventually. It's just, it's just a bummer that's been lingering this long and keeping me out of these events.
So it's not necessarily a pain issue. It's more of a legitimate range of motion problem that will probably cost you the shots that you want to throw.
Yeah, if I went to go throw a disc, I can't even hold. I can't, there's so much inflammation here that I don't have grip strength. So eventually that inflammation is going to go down and I'll be back to normal. But yeah, it's just it's definitely depressing not being out here. I'm out here. I'm going to probably watch a little bit. I got the Airbnb already booked and everything. So I'm already here, and I want to let everyone know what's going on with me. But yeah, I'm doing everything I can. I'm doing all kinds of treatments. I'm, getting MRIs and getting X-rays just to make sure nothing's wrong. And nothing's wrong. It's just a matter of time. Play the waiting game.
Yeah. You said it was potentially Lyme related. Is any other part of your body affected by this, or just the most crucial part of the throw?
Yeah. So at OTB last year, it was the knee. So it just kind of attacks different joints. And as I get, further and further into treatment, it's going to be less and less common to have flare-ups. But I'm just kind of in the early stages still, only 2 or 3 years having Lyme disease. So the longer and the more I take care of my body, it's just going to be less and less frequent with these flare-ups. So the light's at the end of the tunnel for sure. Mm-hmm. And hopefully this is one of the last couple flare-ups I have before I'm kind of just smooth sailing and able to play every tournament I want.
Well, Rick, really not much else we can really say here. We wish you the best of luck. Obviously, we really hope to see you back out here, and good luck with everything.
Yeah, good luck to all the competitors, and hopefully I can be back next week at the Open in Austin.
All right, we'll see you out there.
See y'all.
And with that, we're going to wrap.